Yes, we are live. Okay, to understand your question, so let me read out your question. Okay. Okay. How one is left to discover the Dhamma by themselves? One second, okay. Uh, as there are many teachers, all teachings, this and that method, sometimes conflicting. So, discussion on how one can find for themselves true Dhamma, which leads to freedom and becomes secure in understanding. Okay, so very simple if we were to go by the Buddha's experience. Okay, so he says what you need to do that for yourself, forgetting about relying on others.
Right.
Okay, so 7 things have to happen to you in whichever, however, whatever you are going to follow. So the first thing is that you should get into disillusionment, which is nothing but in Pali, if we use it, is called as nibbida. That
Mm.
means you are out of illusion. Now, what is this illusion? The illusion here is that I feel I exist. That's the illusion. Meaning, when I stand in front of the mirror and then I can see that it is Vilas.
Mm.
That's an illusion. So, any Dhamma of whatever, in whatever combination, right? So, whether I had to start with Anicca Dukkha Anatta or a Paticca Samutpada or this or that or Burmese tradition or a Sri Lankan tradition or this tradition or that tradition, whatever it is, ultimately should lead me to look at how, wait a second, am I seeing myself as Vilas when I stand in front of the mirror?
Mm.
And if I become aware that I am not Vilas at all, there's nothing Vilas which can be found in this body, and then I can find that there is nobody I can find outside also, right? So the illusion is gone. So this is the first thing that should come to me. So to establish that, you need to experience Mahasatipatthana Sutta, in that the body contemplation, where he says that this body consists of blah blah blah, all that, bones and skull, sorry, the hair and the body hair and all that. So basically that should tell me, or that should click in me, that if I say Vilas, it means, what am I talking? I'm talking 20 things of solid and 12 things of liquid, and there is nothing that I can find that I am this,
Mm.
right? And that should strike, meaning not as a theoretical thing, not as an intellectual thing, but it should really strike. So the test of that is, if I stand in front of the mirror, then I should be able to see all these body parts. So now I might think, can I find intestine and lungs and liver and all that? That you leave it. So what I can find? I can find the hairs, I can find the bone here, I can find the teeth, I can find these fingernails, and all of that I can find. And I can also find the eyes are moving here and there. Yes, all the senses are there in this face only. There's no other sense to call it as a sense, because everything is there in the face. So apart from the face, if I see from neck below, I cannot find anything of me. So that should get established. So then the illusion is
Okay.
gone. So this is the first thing. And he talks in many suttas that I went to many teachers and I could not find these 7 things. That is Nibbida. Then he says Viraga. So Raga is nothing but dye, color. So it's already colored, meaning there is a coloring that I am this, and that makes me feel associated, attracted attached, all of that. So that's the reason raga is takes you to lust, or ultimately it takes to lust, because I start glorifying myself because I like it, because it's a coloring, it's just colored up. So I'm not able to see what really exists. What really exists is these body parts, but what I'm seeing here is an integrated thing, which is because of illusion I have raga. So what should happen is, if that illusion goes away, then it would be replaced by viraga automatically. So there is no raga. That means the color is gone. There is no dye, which that color of whatever it is, red or green or blue or whatever it is,
mm,
RGB. That is what I see, and that's completely removed. So the Dhamma, what I'm going to follow, with whomever I'm going to follow, whichever teacher I'm going to follow, should teach me how to get out of Nibbida and Viraga, these two things. If that happens, the third one which is going to happen is Nirotha. So it becomes cessation. So you cease that expression coming out. What I mean to say is that when I stand in front of the mirror, I definitely know the body, but it's not my body. It's not that my color. It's not that my this one and that one, that's gone. It doesn't arise
mm,
again. So I'm in Nirodha. So when there is Nirodha, automatically it takes you to peaceful, because there is nothing now to associate. There's nothing now to attach with. So it is detachment. So when there is detachment, obviously it should be peaceful. It can't be, only when there's attachment, the peace is not there. The anxiety is there to get back what I'm losing. And when I don't even have that, there's nothing to be lost, because there's nothing to be gained in the first place. So I am now peaceful. So upasamaya, that is being peace. Okay. Then abhinyaya, we need to say that I'm able to see far beyond than what a normal eye can see. What is that normal eye can see? A normal eye can see that, oh, this is a tree, and this is a plantain, and this is a road, this is America, this is Canada, this is India, this is my wife, and this is my family, and blah, blah, all that. And what
mm,
a, a different way of seeing is that, since I'm seeing the reality, I know for sure it is not America or Canada or India or this or that. It's just named, but in reality, all of that does not exist. So, for conventional purposes, we are using this nomenclature, we are using these designations, we are using these explanations to just to give a conceptual meaning to it, but in reality it doesn't exist. It only exists as either as a solid or a liquid or a gas or a heat or something like that. It's not really the concept. So then you get upasamaya, which is seeing in a different way. So many people call it as a third eye awakening, because now your two eyes are not what you're seeing. You're seeing from a different eyesight, and not the yogic third eye, what we're talking about. You're able to establish a different way of seeing. So if you go from the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, where Buddha explains to the five people, and then he says that aloko udapadi, panya udapadi, chakkum udapadi, that is what it is. And he's able to see a different eye. I'm going to see, wow, all this time I was misunderstood. All this time I was feeling that, oh, this is me, and this is this, and this is that, and that's gone. Right? So that should happen. So,
mm,
sambodhaya, that means I should be able to see the Four Noble Truths completely in and out. In whichever direction it is given, I should be able to establish the first Noble Truth, and the second Noble Truth, and the third and the fourth. It should happen not as a theory, but as a self experience of the Four Noble Truth. and then that gets into Nibbana. So Nibbanaya. So and now I have experienced the unbinding. The bond has been removed. And now I know for sure, for myself, this is what I was attached with, and this is not I am attached with. So this is conditioned and this is unconditioned. So I can see the difference between conditioning and unconditioned. Condition creates self, unconditioned creates disturbance in mind, all the things are and you can know for sure. It's not that I'm imagining it is real. I'm not imagining that everything will happen. It's for sure. Now I can for certain make to know that I have indeed experienced divinity. It's not that I need to go and ask a testimonial or something, and I go and ask somebody that, hey, you know what, tell me whether I've experienced this or experienced that. That is immaterial. It doesn't really make any sense. What makes sense is that, am I really experiencing as indicated by the Buddha? No matter who teaches, or whichever teacher I'm going to find, or whichever YouTube video I'm going to find, or whatever. So this 7 has to happen. Now for this 7, 4 things you need to have as a question. There's another sutta, it's in Anguttara Nikaya 8.83, and in that he starts asking, it's about what is the root of all things. So he again gives 8 things to question oneself. So he says, if somebody asks you what's the basis of everything and how everything starts, so then he says Chanda. Chanda means a desire. Even for attaining Nibbana, you need to have a desire. So it can be used in a positive sense, it can be used in a negative sense. In the positive sense, it's about Nibbana. In the negative sense is that I want to experience the world. So, Kim Avuso Sabbe Dhamma. So he says, what is how the experience of Dhamma happens, and then he says that what is the Mula, that is the root. Okay, so then he says Chanda Mula. Like that he gives 8. And you require, then there's another sutta where he talks about 4, where he says that in the Mahatanha Khaya Sutta, he then explains that any person should ask this question. What are these 4 questions? What's the origin? Kim Nidana. What is the arising? Kim Samudaya. Then what is that which comes up, which starts in what we can call it as birth. So Kim Jatika. What's the birth point of that? And Kim Pabhava. What is its influence? Or how does it influence? Right? So then he says that if you really observe our body, what it is, it's food. So it is the food body which I call as myself. So then the question I need to ask is, why do I consider myself as myself? Because I am able to see the form. Okay, good. What does the form have? A form has color. Okay, now the form has color and form has shape. And form is either hard or it is soft. That's all I can see right now. Okay, and that creates a feeling. So there's a feeling which comes up saying that, hey, you look good, you don't look good, your name is Vilas, your name is not Vilas, you're this, you're that, you're father, you are not father, you have a wife or you don't have a wife, and all of this is a feeling. And then there's a perception based upon the feeling. So whatever you feel, you perceive. So if I feel I'm a father, I perceive I'm a father. If I feel I'm a son, and then I immediately perceive I'm a son. If I perceive I'm a Canadian, and then I feel I am a Canadian. Because I feel I'm a Canadian, so I perceive Canada. If I am in
Mm.
US, and then I'm still a Canadian, but still I consider myself in the US because I perceive that it is US. And if you come to India, then you're going to say, I'm a Canadian in India. So same thing if I were to do. If I come to Canada, then I feel more Canadian than Indian in Canada because I now associate. So there's a perception feeling going together. And based upon that, I'm going to do a lot of sankharas. So I can do a sankhara of the speech and a sankhara of the body and sankhara of the mind. So I keep on doing. And then the experiencer, the experience what is getting provided to really feel I'm an American or to really feel I'm an Indian or a Canadian, I feel deep within that I'm a Canadian or I'm an Indian. So that's Vijnana. So basically, Owen, what I'm trying to say is that you need to get into this through many directions. Using sutta is one way, or through a teacher is another way, but whoever is going to teach you should be able to reflect upon and say that this is how you can practice. It's not about whether you need to know anicca dukkha anatta is one of it, or paticca or this or that. That's theory. Okay, that's a
Mm.
good amount of theory. So that's one thing you need to get, but that's not all of it. That's not what it. And that's the reason we start searching. Okay, I didn't get it. I didn't understand what you're trying to say. So let me now explore. So our exploration, our seeking doesn't end. And that's the reason we need to go to the sutta, because in that sutta he has been running around like that, and then he found out, if I were to run out like this, the fuel is going to go away, and then I'm going to get another rebirth. So there's no point. So I need to have these 7 answers to this 7. That is, somebody should teach me how to get disillusioned. Somebody should teach me how should I get into viraga, which is dispassion. Somebody has to teach me how to stop what is arising, and somebody has to teach me how to get into the peaceful state through jhanas or otherwise, how that can be done. Then somebody has to teach me about seeing in a different way. The whole world is seeing in one way, but I am able to see in another way and able to see what the reality is all about. And then I am able to see the Four Noble Truths for myself, and hence I have attained Nibbana, which is
Mm.
unshakable, right? So this is what it's all about. So the starting point for us, for anyone, is this answer to this 7. Okay. Now the question comes, how should I start and where should I start? Right. So now these 7 are clear. And that 8 questions and 4 questions, all that you leave it. So presently we have to find out an answer for this 7. Now for the first question, okay, to understand this body and to understand what is inside this body, we need to have a good grasp on the 10 immoral deeds. So because that comes in between looking at the body and contemplating. So there are 2 things that should happen. One is we need to have a particular samatha, which is tranquility. The mind should be tranquilized to a good extent, and then should be also in vipassana, which means investigation, a deep drawn investigation on what it is in real sense, what it is, what is vilas. That's what I need to see, not who am I, not where was I or what was I. That is not the question. The thing I need to know for myself is, what is vilas. Like in your case, what is oven? it doesn't matter what anybody is speaking, and there's so much of discussion happening. Let's say we both are on Discord and there's so much of discussion happening. That's good, that's an information, but that's not what it is. What I should know is for myself to stop my engagement, to stop my searching, is that what is Avan and what is Vilas. Simple. And then I need to look at, out of the 10 immoral, which is the one which is the strongest immoral I have. Not that I'm doing it by purpose, but it's there. So I need to work on that immoral. So the 10 moral has to be replaced with the 10 immoral. If I do that, and then it removes the visikicha, which is the skeptical doubt on which teacher to find, what should I find, and where should I find, and how should I find, and all that will get eliminated. When we say eliminated, it means that it reduces so much that it doesn't really cause a problem, because you are able to experience. Now we will understand what is there to experience and what it really means. So 3 things should happen to both you and me, or for anyone. One thing that should happen to all of us, the beginning, is an awakening, which is an insight. So I should get an insight, a wow moment. Now I got it. That moment, when I get something, I get awakened to it. I was sleeping, I was in a slumber. So I have no idea what it is. So the very first time I'm able to see, let's say as an example, stand in front of the mirror and see, oh shucks, it's all made out of this solid and liquid. I don't find myself there. Wow, now I'm cleared of that. Now I don't get deluded of what I'm seeing. It's like I'm standing in front of the lake and I'm looking at my reflection, and I fall in love with that reflection, thinking that this is me. That's what has happened. And suddenly now I find that, oh, that reflection was fake. It was not true. Right? So now that's experience I need to have. And that I'm not having because of the defilements which are created out of immoral deeds. So if I work on that, so then my starting point should be on that to get an insight. Then the second stage is taking things indirectly, realization. So what is called as self-realization? Ultimately, I find self out there.
ままでも、まあ、例えば漢字はなくなってないですよね。だから仏様となってないわけです。ここで今あるんです。ここに入ったら
at the very moment body will sustain, as soon as the consciousness stops, it will independently satisfy, irrespective of where or how. So even when I go for anesthetic injection to that part of the body, it's sensation. There is no feeling, there is no mind out there. It becomes lifeless to the extent till that anesthesia is working. The moment the anesthesia is gone, the consciousness enters back, and then the pain and all that will appear. So it's very clear. So I am able to have a realization that whatever I'm calling as self no longer exists in the way I think I exist. That realization happens when I have a pure mind. What's the impure mind and what's a pure mind? A pure mind is one which is reflecting the consciousness as is, without the coloring, without the distortion. So if I worked on the 10 immoral deeds, I am able to see that out of 5 hindrances, what's that hindrance which is hindering me from getting into the insights all the time. That's my test to see whether I'm getting insights or not. And second is, how do I realize? If I'm able to realize, that means the mind is pure. If I'm not able to realize, means that the mind is impure. So I need to look at the 5 hindrances. So the first hindrance can be sensual, and the second hindrance can be irritation, the third hindrance can be sloth and torpor, the fourth hindrance can be restlessness and worries, and the fifth hindrance is the skeptical doubt. So these are the 5 hindrances which are going to be there with 10 immoral deeds, which will amplify it. So that means even if I were to read the Buddha Dhamma and I'm listening to a lot of videos, and at that moment I feel, I understand, I fairly understand, but over a period it just washes away and I'm back in the square one, and I'm trying desperate to understand how should I understand this, whom should I follow and what should I follow, what tradition is good and what tradition is not. So I'm going in that circle because of the visikicha, which is the doubt, and the doubt has come because of restlessness. So udacha, which is restlessness, and that has created worries and anxiety, which is kukucha, and that makes me feel either let down, and I feel that not today, we'll do it some other day, and all that will come, which is sloth and torpor. And then after that I am getting agitated, which is the vyapada, and then the sensual things will take over. So all the 5 hindrances are attacking. So that means I will not be able to get into an insight, which is awakening, and I will not get into realization. These 2 things are not going to happen. If those 2 things are not going to happen, these 7 things anyway will not happen. So even though I might be reading it again and again on the sutta, or somebody is telling about nibbida, viraga, nirotha, all that, it sounds good and it's in Pali. So the question comes, should I then learn Pali? I think that's the first thing I need to do, or this or that. Or mind keeps on going in circles. So what I need to do for anything is that I need to know these are 7 things, and then I need to know that, hey, listen, so if I want to get into these 7 things, I need to look at the mind. So I need to see how pure is my mind, and accordingly set up that, replace the 10 immoral with the 10 moral, and remove the hindrances. So this is the next step I need to follow. If I do that, let's say, and to whatever extent the mind is calmed, so I can do the samatha, which is nothing but getting into 1, 2, 3 jhana. And 4 jhana, if I am able to establish, it's good, otherwise 3 is sufficient. So it keeps the mind very open, very clear to penetrate into Dhamma. Now I can take, what is Dhamma? That's another thing which I will have to understand by myself. Dhamma has a lot of connotation, but in the end what you find is all concepts and all things is Dhamma. Sabba Dhamma. When we use that word in Pali, it means that everything what is conceptualized is Dhamma. I'll tell you what it really means. I call this as nose, and that's a concept. As simple as that. It is lips. It's a concept. Now this is soft, but I don't call it as soft. I call it as lips. Like that. So each one is a concept, and the conceptual reality covers up the actual reality. Actually what it is, it's covered up. So basically what I need to do is, I need to know this is conventional. Okay, this has to be done. Otherwise I cannot communicate with anyone. And this is really how it is. So for that, I need to understand Dhamma. So there is 2 things in Dhamma. Dhamma is the things, Dhamma is the teaching. So when we say Buddha Dhamma, it is the teaching, and the Dhamma means that is about the things. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to use this Dhamma to understand what thing we are talking about, or what is this thing all about. Oh, no, like this Vilas is a thing. It's an object. As if there is an object, it's going to have death, because the object is going to anyway die one day. It's going to end its journey one day, just like a computer or a laptop or a house or whatever we take. It has an end of life. The name associated with this body also has an end of life. So I can now penetrate the Dhamma, meaning I can get deep into the insight of what really it is, which is called Vipassana. So now I am getting into Vipassana. I am able to penetrate into Dhamma. So if I come to this much of a stage, to even a 50% level, I now have found the teacher. If I can do it through my suttas is good, but if for some reason I'm not able to get into the sutta, then I know, oh, if I follow this person, he can teach me, because he is able to tell how to get into this, and I'm seeing it myself. So, and hence I'm getting faith into it. So it starts with belief. So I'm believing that what he says is true. Now I am experiencing it, and it's converting itself into faith. So I'm no longer believing it. I know what he says or she says is right. I have experienced it myself. So if somebody comes and say that that's not a good experience, and I know for sure, no, I'm sorry about it, but I have experienced it exactly what is there. So now I'm not illusioned any longer. I have come into disillusionment. So when I am disillusioned, the first one, Nibbidda, has happened. The remaining 6 automatically happens in a slow progression, but it keeps on happening. So with disillusion, you get dispassion and all that will. So now you know for yourself the Dhamma, the teaching, right, on the objects. So why do we seek so many teachers and so many things? Is because we don't know the starting point. So we basically start from somewhere in between, and then various books and various things, various videos and various internet chat forums and this and that talk about many things, but what's my starting, or where should I start? And even though I know where to start, let's say, but the question next comes, how to start? What should my first interaction with myself? Because this, I have to lose this I feeling than anything else. So it's not about whether anicca equals impermanence, or is it not impermanent, or if it is non-substantial, or this or that or whatever. That is English Pali translation, whether it's okay, not okay and all that. That is immaterial. Or dukkha means you should be suffering or unsatisfactoriness or whatever. Or anatta means that no self, or not about self, it is about the personality. It's not about personality, it is something else. So what is happening here? The mind is burning unnecessarily to understand the concept again. So I am now losing energy in finding whether this is correct or that is correct, or that is how it should be defined. This should be. It's not about whether Pali in English means this or English in Pali means that. That's not a question. The question here is that, am I getting dispassionate? Am I getting disillusioned about everything? That's the main thing, than getting into whether it should be this or that or whatever. So what of all of these experiences, when if I were to put it in a very summarized fashion, from the time I started, I find every teacher from so many different traditions talk the same in a different way, but I don't know where should I start. So I get totally confused now. I don't know, should I follow And there is
力が今までも例えばがんじはなくなってないですよ今までだから仏様もなくなってないここで今あるんですここに入ったら私たちが
so I felt, oh, I'm also starting. This seventh thing is really inside. That was
それがまた他で
that helped me step by step to the realization. And when I got that realization, then only I understood what a sutta step is. How does one get into that? Otherwise, it's only I read in this forum, that forum, and so many things. I used to chat with Lal, and as you know, so all of that has happened. So all the water has flown, but yet not sure Sotapanna or no Sotapanna, Sakadagami or no Sakadagami, Anagami or no Anagami, like that. Basically, what I'm doing is I'm in fear. I don't want to miss the bus, right? As because I don't want to die feeling that I'm still a Sotapanna. That means I'm going to have many rebirths, and that is many one bhava or seven bhavas and many jati, which is different rebirths. Oh my goodness, it can be unlimited rebirths. I don't want it. Nobody wants it. So now I'm following Buddha Dhamma because it's ending of rebirth. Now who is going to teach me ending of rebirth? Right? So what really helped me is to go deeper and deeper and deeper into many suttas with one objective in mind, like what he started when he with his teachers. He put this 7. So I also put this 7. Okay, whether I'm following Bhante Vimala Ramsey's videos, I'm following some Sri Lankan videos, or this videos, or that videos, or in your case, even if you were to listen to me, some videos, or whatever I've written, or whatever it is, you shouldn't get biased. You should only look at whether these 7 questions you are getting answer or not. Right? That should be your goal. Nothing else matters. It doesn't matter whether you're going to listen to me or you're not going to listen to me. That is immaterial. Because I am talking only Buddha Dhamma. I am not talking Vilas Dhamma. Then you should be associated with me. You have got nothing to do with me, except that you and I follow the same Buddha teaching. So it doesn't really matter. But what you should get is the answer to these 7. So these 7, like in my case, became my singing, or became my, what I can say, sati, or being mindful. I should get disillusion. No, I'm still illusion. No, I should get disillusion. How? How should I get disillusion? So one day, long time ago, I started to see that, oh well, wait a second, now I get it. So if I look into Masatipatthana Sutta, in that if I do the body contemplation, I am going to get disillusion for sure. So I started on that, including the charnel ground meditation and all that. So it really helped to get into Nibbida, then Viraga. So then I came to know that how Viraga happens. When you see the shit, absolutely you will get dispassionate about it. All this while I'm thinking this body to be a real good machine, which I have created. Now I find that it's not I have created, it's growing. Right? I didn't bring the mustache, I didn't bring the beard, I didn't bring anything. It's just growing. I need to keep on cutting or doing whatever it is, but that's all what it is. Nor I chose to become an Indian, nor I chose to become an American or a Canadian or whatever it is. It just happened. I'm born in this place, so I'm called as an Indian, but that doesn't mean that I'm an Indian. So that Viraga happened. So then Nirotha happened, like that. So it started to show up by itself. As much as it showed up, That much I was able to understand that, now this is what is Sotapanna, and oh, this is what is Sakadagami, oh, this is what is Anagami, like that. So, a very simple steps in that direction helped me to understand the teaching through the sutta itself rather than relying on something or the other. I'm not saying we should not rely on anyone, but like what Buddha says, he says, rely on yourself. Don't get yourself going away from what you're trying to do, because don't get influenced. If you or anyone shouldn't get influenced. We are here to search what and how about relieving from this pain, rather than looking at, what, if I don't follow that person, if I don't follow this person. That shouldn't be our motto. So, to answer to your question, what about the teachers? I tell you, forget the teachers, look at the teaching. You should get answer to these 7, like what Buddha got. So, it's not that it's my finding, no. It's there in the sutta. He talks this 7, and I'm exactly talking this 7. Right? And if you and I work together, you are able to get to see answers to the 7, that means the teacher has worked. If it is not working for you, then you can say goodbye to this teacher. Hey, you know what? I tried, whatever you say, it didn't work. Sorry, let me search. Okay, no worries. So, it should be like that. Then you will strike it. It will happen. So keep the teachers as to try, and take the teachings to work out. Right? So there is one particular sutta which I can send. He talks about these 7. He questions, am I getting this? Am I getting this? Am I getting this? And then he finds, no, I'm not getting it. So now I'm going to do this. When I do this, am I getting it? No, I've not got it. So I'm now going to do this, like that. Okay, now you don't have to read it per se, but that's what you need to do. Meaning to say that, oh, I want this, means I should be disillusioned. The illusion is this body. So I should come out of this body-mind complex. Okay. In the mind, I feel I'm this body. So that means I have Sakkaya Ditthi. So what I should do is I should get rid of Sakkaya Ditthi. So reading through suttas is one thing. Working on that is another thing. So to work on that, let me first work with the 10 immoral deeds. So you can start like that. So in the Kunda Sutta, which I have spoken many times, you will find that how you should do it also is there. So he has given that answer to it. So my starting point or your starting point for both of us is the same. Unless that immoral thing doesn't go away to a good extent, the moral thing is not established, no matter what sutta I read, it's not going to work. Right? And when that works, the hindrances keeps on dropping off. So I need to keep on checking those 5 hindrances like a parameter. So I'm verifying, yes, this one went away, that one went away. Now I can see it even more clearly. So that is my test. Litmus test, if I were to call. And then you will break that. You will get disillusioned. And once you're disillusioned, the wheel starts to roll. The Dhamma Chakku is going to happen. So now you are on your own. So it's not that you are on your own without anyone. You can take support, you can take help, but the working around is with you. So you don't have to go into that mindset that ultimately we all have to do it ourselves and nobody can come. No, true, that is not true. But nobody can get you Nibbana on their behalf. You have to find a striking thing happening. So when does that strike? When does a matchstick strike? It's called awakening moment. So you get that awakening, and then you realize, and these two things will take you to liberation, because now you've seen it, you have experienced for yourself. Now you're on your own, because now you don't require this what I can say, you don't have to have this wheelchair or crutches or
Mm-hmm.
anything. You can walk on your own. So the teacher is required to show you how to walk. You don't require a teacher while you know how to walk. So
I have
basic.
a question
Yeah, sure.
or
Go
a,
ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
so I've experienced certain things and am just trying to understand some different things. So I'll just sort of explain what I've understood and where I'm at,
Right.
and it will sort of form a question. So I'm right now, well, the experience that happened to me is that I was practicing just meditation on, it was a video that you had released. It's called Why Everything like is deteriorating or fades away, but we don't see it. And anyway, you give these descriptions of 10 that all dhammas are subject to. And anyway, as I was meditating on that, I got to a state of very much peacefulness, and I could see directly how the creation or birth of ideas, concepts, or like desires create suffering. And I was able to sort of see that and then break through to like stop them from arising. And so when I felt that, I sort of thought, okay, so what this is all about is viraga means like being dispassionate towards all arisen things that are subject to conditionality, and sort of like, and yeah, so the objective would be to properly contemplate these dhammas and see their drop, and to gain viraga through that. But you're talking a lot about like identity, and that's not something that, or essentially, that's not something that I've like integrated really into my practice, or something that I've focused on a lot. So I was wondering if the way I'm practicing is missing that, and I'm not actually going to break through further steps on the path to really achieve dispassion and stuff like this.
One thing on the body control, in the kaya vipassana, you need to look at especially the section, the two sections. That will create a samatha. That meaning you need to get into a peaceful state, like what you are talking about. So it gets you a peaceful state. Once it get into a peaceful state, you need to observe through breath what's happening in the body. So actually what happens is that you can see the body arising and falling down, just like you have the puppets, right? So the puppet, somebody is playing around with the puppet, so they like that you'll start to see. Okay, so then you will able to see that ajata bahidha, that is external internal or internal external, also the same kind. This is one. If that is not working out, you leave the three sections, that is the anapana sati, and you leave the iriya pabbam, that is about the four postures, and then the sampajanya pabbam, which is nothing but in all the body parts, how you can do it. Directly jump into the 20 things what he talks about, 20 plus 12, that is on asubha bhavana, that is that patikula manasikara pabbam, wherein you have to make a mind which is attached to feel disgusted. Okay, and if you are able to work out well with saliva, it's sufficient, so you don't have to go towards all the other 11 of them. So saliva and urine, two things you can observe while you go for urination and salivation. So if you just see that it's a lot of water, you didn't create the water, it's there, right? So you can contemplate on that, and also on the bones or the teeth and whatever. Just take one or two of it, you don't have to take all the 20s, right? So the contemplation here should be that, did you really bring this up? right? The teeth, is it mine? And if it's yes, how is it mine? This strong, the it's hard. The teeth is hard. Did I bring hard? Did I ever work out on this teeth? And what happened when I was child? The teeth had fallen and the new teeth came. Did I do anything for that? No. So like that I need to contemplate. So first I need to bring in samatha, which is tranquility. With the breath, I need to practice that and then start looking at the teeth and bones and all that. Once you do that, you get the disillusion happens. I'm illusioned about this body, it breaks. Once it breaks, it will show up what it is. So you get disgusted. Then the sakkaya ditthi will go away. Okay, so this is a practice I need to do. So how long should I practice? So long I am able to come out of disillusionment. Okay, so should I be doing for 1 hour or 2 hours or half an hour, 20 minutes? It depends. It depends on how long I can observe. I can be observing it all the day. Yes, best thing. Because let's say in my case, when I go to office, when I'm sitting here, when I'm talking to you, when I'm doing everything, I'm observing that. I'm exactly observing that. So I'm bringing in sati all the time. So that is the secret, or that is the step I shouldn't forget, is to bring in sati. So I need to keep on observing. That's what I need to keep on doing. So sati is, what's going to happen is, when we say mindful, mindful of what? To remember what really it is. So the saliva is water. That's all what it is. It's not my saliva. It's just water. Right? And this is not my water. It's just water. So I have many suttas, like, Dhatu Vibhanga Sutta. He says that, he questions, is this water more or that water more? Water in the seas and water everywhere is more, or this is more? Obviously, this is less than when compared to that. They both are water. So the internal, external, they are just a way to demarcate, but they both are same. So if I were to question like that, then the disillusion, dispassion, both happens together. Okay, and then the remaining things automatically happens. You don't have to do anything. It's an automated process. If these two things happens, and the remaining also happens, and you will be in nibbana. It just rolls over. So these two rolling over, so nibbidda viraga nirotha happens, and then upasamaya, the peaceful state, even more peaceful state is seen. Then you feel, wow, this peace I have never encountered before. Abhinyaya, now I can see everywhere it is the same. When I call this as a room, it's made out of solid and liquid and all that. If somebody says I'm sitting in my home, actually he's sitting on space, because the earth is in space. So how can possibly say that I'm sitting at my home? Oh yeah, conventionally I can say, but really this whole earth is in space and the whole thing is in space. So where is that I'm saying that I'm here, I'm there and all that? It looks so minuscule, right? So now I know whatever I'm talking is, yeah, conventionally yes, but really not. So then I can get into abhinya and like that. So then I know I have achieved the Four Noble Truths. The suffering, how the suffering happens, and how the reason for suffering is happening. Because I am craving for something which doesn't exist. It's like somebody saying that, Vilas, you're there, and I'm searching for that Vilas, I'll never find it. I crave for that experience called Vilas. Because that is the one which gives me a security that you exist. You're not going to die. And because every now and then somebody is going to call my name, Vilas. So that is giving me a kind of stability. But it is the most unstable thing. The name itself is causing so much of attachment. So now I am no longer in that, and hence I am in Nibbana. So the Nibbana is achieved. So the first two will give you other 5 automatically. So what I need to be working out is only on two, Nibbida, Viraga, that's all. And not the remaining is automated. So what you're doing is right. So there are various ways of approaching, like in the videos, you can go through anicca way, you can go through dukkha, or you can go through anatta, you can go combination of it, whichever way it isn't, because that is a lakhana, that is a characteristic, that's how one can see through their eyes. So the question comes, should I do anapanasati to do that, should I do this to do that? All these are methods to approach to that. So what is the purpose? The purpose is to make things tranquil. The mind should be tranquil, and the mind can now penetrate the Dhamma, the two things. Now for that, should I recite Etan Santan, Etan Panitan, should I recite this or that? It depends on whether my mind is already in focus or not in focus. Is it mindful or is not mindful? I know that I'm sitting and a lot of thoughts are running through. So I close my eyes and I'm hardly able to sit. So then what I bring? I need to bring in something. I need to cut it. So savitaka, savichara have to be brought about because it's not working. So if I just sit, try to observe the breath, nothing is happening. So then I bring in some recitation. So he says in the Jhana Sutta, you bring in Etan Santan, Etan Panitan, that is going to help you. Okay, fine. That's the one I'm going to bring. Or in a Pena Pindupama Sutta, where he teaches meditation using the foam. So he says, Pena Pindupamamidam Rupam, then Vedana Pubulupama, Marichupamancha Sanya, Sankhara Kadalupama, Maya Upamancha Vinyana, Desita Ditta Bandhuna. What it really means is that, if you sit and watch the foam, you can see the rupa there. So my rupa and that rupa are the same. Okay, the feeling is like rainwater dropping on my head. What I can call it as a painful, I can call it pleasurable, I can call it as neutral. If I don't observe, it is neutral. If I like it, I love that rainwater. If I dislike it, I feel it as pinching, it is paining everywhere, that water drops. So then Marichupa Mancha Sanya. So I'm searching for my name. Something like I go to a desert and search for water. It's not going to happen. So there is a mirage which shows that there is water. I keep on running. As I keep on running, it seems to be going far, but when I run back, that river seems to be following me. Same thing is happening with my name. So now I can contemplate on that. So I make my mind, before contemplation, recite this for a few times so that the mind is rid of vitakka vichara. Then the sukha happens, and now I know that I am in piti and sukha. So now it's right time for entering into the vipassana. So now I do vipassana and then keep on investigating, and the dhammas are seen completely. Again, that brings in dispassion, that is viraga, because now I don't have any attachment to the name, to this body. So now I have broken it completely, just gone out of it. Now it doesn't arise. So now I know for myself, this is what Sotapanna is, this is what Sakadagami is, this is what Anagami is, because it is quite obvious. What you're doing is right, but you need to go back to the first.
Right.
And Maharaji from that you will become unattached. You don't require any book, any just
Hmm.
contemplate on that, you will achieve. Or we both can work out on that. I can I can then tell you what you can do, and we can do it. But
Okay.
you have to make your time, and we can do it every day. Like this 8:30, 9:30, we can bring in back, and then we can work out together. I have no problems.
Okay. Great.
Okay, so
Thank you very much.
no
Yeah.
worries. As always, I have no problems on Dhamma. Anybody, anyone wanting it, I have no problems.
When in the Mahasatipatthana Sutta, when he mentions seeing the body as a body, internally and externally, like he's talking about more specifically seeing it rid of a self
Yes, absolutely.
as it is,
As it is.
in
Yes.
it, as in the elements, rather
No,
than
all the four states are there without an element, just to see the process. So the breathing is a process. So you see the process. This is the first one.
ah,
And then you are able to see the process in walking and talking. It's a process, right? It's nothing which is happening
right.
actually. It's just a
Okay.
process. So wherever there are joints, you can bend. Wherever there's no joint, you cannot bend. As simple as that. So now you have joints, so you can bend the fingers, and you can do that. It's not that I am doing anything, right? It's if there were no if the joints get frozen, I cannot bend it. It pains because the joints have caught up, so I cannot do anything. So that's what the Iryapabbam and the Sampajanya Pabbam is. That is, either I am doing it or it's a process, it is working. So the
Right.
first three things are the process. And the fourth thing he brings in the dhatu, saying that it is like four elements bring together, and you call by whatever name you want to call, but they are only elements. This is the fourth one. And if that is not working, he says, come to this. This will work. Because your mind is impure. So you come to the Patikula Manasikara Pabbam. If that is not working, you go to the 9 charnel grounds meditation. And that will certainly work, because that will remove the Kama Chanda, which is sensual feeling. On our own body, not on the Bahidha is another person's body. First I have to get rid of my own body, and then only I can do something on others' body.
Right. That makes sense. Prior to this discussion here, I was under the impression that Satipatthana was only for the purpose of calming the mind, but it's
No.
actually for the purpose of viraga.
Yes,
and,
it is for two.
disillusionment.
It's for not only viraga, it is for two. One is the nibbidha, which is disillusion. I'm in an illusion that, oh, I am breathing. Sorry, sir, you are not breathing. The process of breathing. Right? It's just a process of breathing. It's not that my stomach is going up and coming down. Because the air is expanding and contracting, and hence it is doing it, it's conditioned. It's not by my own will it is happening. So I always feel I am breathing, because that's the most conventional way of explaining. Are you breathing? Yes, sir, I am breathing. Sorry, you are not breathing. It's a process of breathing. And he says the stomach is going up, the whole body is going up and coming down, going. So satova asasati, satova pasasati. That's what he's explaining actually. So you do the satova. Sati is observation, remembrance, mindful. You be mindful of what is happening. You are not doing anything. It just happens. Right? Now you see, where is I in this breath? That's the contemplation all about. So first you tranquil and you observe. Tranquil, observe. Tranquil, observe. It cuts off.
Okay. Very good.
Right? If this is not working, come to this. If that is not working, come to this. If that is not working, so he gives all the kinds for Kayana Pasana. So there are 6 things what it talks about Kayanapasana. So you can try out all the 6. And one of them will click. The once it clicks, you feel, now done. And that brings in the Vedananupasana immediately. And that brings in the Chittanupasana. Then that brings in Dhammanupasana. All the 4 Anupasana happens. Then you feel, wow, this is where I was lacking. And this is where I got it. Your confidence, it just gets boosted. And now you have faith in the Dhamma. Because it has cut off all the fetters. So you lose the first 3 fetters and then other 2 fetters goes away. So you are an anagami now. So then only 5 fetters have to be worked. So 5 lower fetters are gone and the 5 higher fetters remains. If we were to end our journey, we are ending as an anagami, which is okay. Fair deal.
Okay, that was very good discussion. Thank you.
No worries. So if you want, we'll meet tomorrow again and we can take it from there. How to practice
Okay.
Mahasatipatthana. And we both can do it together. Whether somebody comes in this forum or not, that really doesn't matter.
It may have to wait till next Sunday just because of the time difference.
No worries.
It's around directly when I will be working. Most days, Sunday is my day off. So
Okay,
perhaps
then
next
it is
Sunday.
even more better. Then you work out and Sunday we can do it together, we can discuss and we can do it. Not an issue. So we
Great.
don't have to do it tomorrow. When I say tomorrow, it doesn't necessarily means that it should be tomorrow.
Yeah.
Or whenever.
Okay.
Okay, then good day to you then.
Good day to you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.